The unstoppable empire meets its match. The Vectari Dominion had ruled the Orion Arm for 8,000 years. Their empire stretched across 400 star systems. Every species they encountered had eventually bent the knee. Some fought for days. Others resisted for weeks. The proudest civilizations held out for months. But all of them surrendered in the end. The Vectari had never lost a conquest. Not once in 80 centuries of expansion. Supreme Commander Thess-6 stood aboard the bridge of the Eternal Conquest. She was tall even by Vectari standards. Her silver scales gleamed under the ship's artificial lighting. 6 eyes scanned the holographic display before her. 900 warships held formation around her flagship. Each vessel carried enough firepower to reduce a continent to ash. This was the Dominion's third subjugation fleet. They had conquered 37 worlds together without losing a single engagement. Thess-6 studied the data on her next target. A small blue planet orbited a yellow star at the edge of explored space. The inhabitants called it Earth. They called themselves humans. Her intelligence officers had compiled extensive files on the species. They were young. They had only achieved space travel within the last 100 years. Their fastest ships could barely reach 1/10 of light speed. They had no energy shields. No directed energy weapons. Their most powerful armaments were nuclear missiles and primitive railguns. The assessment was clear. Earth would fall within 48 hours. Perhaps less. Her second-in-command approached with a tactical update. The humans have detected our arrival. They are broadcasting on all frequencies. Thess-6 allowed herself a thin smile. This was always her favorite part. The moment when a species first understood what was coming. The moment when hope began to die. Open a channel, she commanded. Let them hear the terms of their submission. Her voice echoed across space and reached every receiver on Earth. People of Earth. I am Supreme Commander Thess-6 of the Vectari Dominion. We have conquered 400 star systems. We have subjugated 1,200 intelligent species. We do not make war. We make examples. Then we make subjects. You have 48 hours to surrender unconditionally. If you comply, your civilization will continue under our protection. If you resist, you will be destroyed. This is not a threat. It is mathematics. She closed the channel and waited. Experience told her what would happen next. There would be panic, then debate, then acceptance. Every species followed the same pattern. Fear gave way to calculation. Calculation revealed impossible odds. Impossible odds led to surrender. On Earth, the message triggered exactly the panic Thess-6 expected. Emergency sessions convened in every capital. Military commanders gathered in underground bunkers. Scientists analyzed the approaching fleet and confirmed the terrible truth. The alien ships were centuries ahead of human technology. Their weapons could strike from distances that made human missiles useless. Their shields could absorb anything humanity could throw at them. The United Earth Defense Council met beneath the Swiss Alps. 12 leaders represented the major power blocks of human civilization. General Marcus Stone commanded the military response. Secretary General Amara Okonjo led the political deliberations. They had been preparing for this moment since alien probes first appeared in the solar system 3 years ago. But preparation and readiness were not the same thing. Stone stood before a holographic display showing the enemy fleet. 900 capital ships. Each one larger than anything we have ever built. Their smallest vessel outguns our biggest battleship. If we fight, we lose. That is not pessimism. That is fact. Then we surrender, suggested the European representative. We survive. We rebuild. We wait for an opportunity. Stone shook his head slowly. Every species that surrendered to them is still a subject. 8,000 years and not one successful rebellion. Their control is absolute. Once we submit forever. The debate raged for hours. Some argued for immediate capitulation. Others demanded resistance regardless of cost. A few suggested negotiation for better terms. Throughout it all, Amara Okonjo listened in silence. She thought about her grandmother who had survived a genocide by hiding in a church basement for 3 months. She thought about her father who had rebuilt their family home twice after civil wars. She thought about the countless generations of humans who had faced impossible odds and refused to quit. When the vote came, it was closer than anyone expected. 7 representatives voted to surrender. 5 voted to resist. As Secretary General, Amara held the deciding vote. She stood and looked at each representative in turn. My grandmother used to tell me that freedom is not something you are given. It is something you take. Sometimes you take it with words. Sometimes with weapons. Sometimes with nothing but your refusal to kneel. We may not win this war. We will probably die. But we will die standing. I vote to resist. The response went out 12 hours before the deadline. It contained a single word in 200 human languages. No. Thes-6 received the message with genuine surprise. In her 200 years of service, no species had ever refused so quickly. Usually there were negotiations, attempts to bargain, pleas for mercy. The humans had simply said no. She ordered her intelligence officers to explain. They analyzed human history and culture for hours. What they found disturbed them. Humans had been fighting each other since before they developed written language. They had survived ice ages and plagues and wars that killed hundreds of millions. Their entire civilization was built on conflict. They did not simply accept death. They seemed to embrace it when the cause was right. One officer highlighted a human concept called spite. It refers to taking harmful action against an enemy even when it provides no benefit to oneself. Simply to cause damage out of defiance. Thes-6 considered this. It was irrational. It was wasteful. It was exactly what the humans were doing. She ordered the fleet to advance. If the humans wanted to die standing, she would accommodate them. The first battle happened near Mars. The United Earth Fleet consisted of 180 vessels. They were a collection of converted cargo haulers, hastily built warships, and retrofitted orbital platforms. Against 900 Vectari capital ships, they were hopelessly outmatched. General Stone knew this. His crews knew this. They attacked anyway. Human railguns hammered against Vectari shields with no visible effect. Human missiles were intercepted by point defense systems that tracked hundreds of targets simultaneously. When the Vectari returned fire, human ships died in brilliant flashes of light. The battle lasted 6 hours. Humans lost 73 vessels. The Vectari lost none. Stone watched the casualty reports from his command ship. Good people were dying by the thousands. Friends he had known for decades vanished in instants. The logical response was surrender. The human response was different. All ships fall back to secondary positions, he ordered. Rearm. Regroup. We hit them again in 12 hours. On the Eternal Conquest, Thes-6 studied the battle data with growing unease. The human losses were catastrophic. By any rational measure, they should be requesting terms. Instead, they were regrouping for another attack. Her second-in-command voiced the question everyone was thinking. Why do they continue? They cannot win. They know they cannot win. Thes-6 had no answer. In 8,000 years of conquest, the Vectari had never encountered a species that fought without hope of victory. Every civilization they conquered had resisted to achieve something. Better terms. Cultural preservation. Protection for their young. The humans seemed to be fighting simply to fight. She composed another message. You have demonstrated courage. This is acknowledged. Further resistance serves no purpose. Surrender now and we will honor your bravery with favorable terms. The human response arrived within the hour. It consisted of a single image. A human hand with one finger extended upward. Her officers explained the gesture's meaning. Thes-6 felt something she rarely experienced. Doubt. The price of defiance. 3 weeks passed. The Vectari fleet pushed toward Earth. Every step of the way humans made them pay. Stone had abandoned traditional fleet tactics after the first battle. Large formations were death traps against Vectari firepower. Instead, human ships scattered across the solar system. They hid in asteroid fields and behind moons. They attacked in groups of 2 or 3. They struck supply convoys and isolated scouts. They vanished before the enemy could respond. The casualties were still devastating. Humans lost 5 ships for every Vectari vessel they damaged. But they were damaging Vectari vessels. That had never happened before. No species had ever inflicted real losses on a Dominion fleet during a conquest operation. Thes-6 held a strategy meeting with her senior commanders. The holographic display showed their progress toward Earth. Small red markers indicated human attack positions. There were hundreds of them scattered across the system. We have lost 17 vessels, her tactical officer reported. Another 42 are damaged and require repair. Human losses exceed 200 ships. 17 vessels. In 3 weeks. Against a species that should have surrendered in 2 days. Thes-6 felt the weight of those numbers. 17 Vectari crews. Thousands of soldiers. Gone. For what? A planet that would fall regardless? Continue the advance, she ordered. But increase escort formations around supply ships. The humans adapted. They always adapted. When the Vectari strengthened convoy escorts, humans targeted sensor platforms. When the Vectari protected sensors, humans attacked fuel depots. When the Vectari fortified everything, humans started ramming their ships into Vectari vessels. The first ramming attack destroyed a light cruiser. The human pilot had accelerated a damaged transport directly into the cruiser's engine section. The resulting explosion killed 400 Vectari soldiers. Intelligence recovered the transport's black box. The pilot's final transmission was recorded. "Tell my daughter I love her. Tell the aliens this is what we do." Thess-6 listened to the recording 7 times. She tried to understand the mind that could face certain death with such calm determination. She failed. On Earth, the remaining human fleet prepared for the final defense. Stone had 112 ships left. Many were damaged. All were exhausted. But they were still fighting. Secretary General Okonjo visited the fleet before the final battle. She walked through corridors filled with wounded sailors. She shook hands with pilots who knew they would not survive the week. She saw fear in their eyes. But she also saw something else. Pride. "You have already won," she told them. "Not the battle. Maybe not the war. But you have proven something that the galaxy needed to see. Humans do not surrender. Humans do not quit. Humans do not kneel. Whatever happens tomorrow, that truth will echo across the stars forever." The final battle began when the Vectari fleet entered Earth orbit. 800 vessels against 112. The mathematics were clear. The outcome was certain. Humans attacked anyway. Stone led the assault personally. His flagship, the Defiance, was an old battlecruiser that should have been retired years ago. Its shields were patched with salvaged alien technology. Its weapons were a mix of human and captured Vectari systems. Human engineers had spent 3 weeks learning to integrate alien tech. They did not fully understand how it worked. They made it work anyway. The Defiance scored the first kill. A concentrated burst from its hybrid weapons collapsed a Vectari destroyer's shields. Human missiles poured through the gap. The destroyer exploded. Across the battle space, human ships demonstrated what they had learned. They targeted shield generators. They exploited blind spots in Vectari formations. They coordinated attacks with precision that surprised Vectari tactical officers. They still died in terrible numbers. But they took Vectari ships with them. Thess-6 watched her fleet bleed. 40 vessels destroyed in the first hour. Another 60 damaged. This was not a conquest anymore. This was a war. A real war against an enemy that refused to accept defeat. Her second-in-command approached with urgent news. "Supreme Commander, we are receiving transmissions from the other Dominion fleets. They are asking about our progress." Thess-6 understood the implication. Word was spreading. The invincible Dominion had found a species that could hurt them. If this battle continued, other conquered worlds might start asking questions. Might start wondering if resistance was possible after all. She made a decision that no Vectari commander had made in 8,000 years. Open a channel to the human flagship. Stone received the transmission on a bridge filled with smoke and wounded officers. He expected another demand for surrender. Instead, he heard something different. "General Stone. I am Supreme Commander Thess-6. Your species has demonstrated capabilities we did not anticipate. You have cost us vessels and crews we cannot easily replace. You have proven that humans are not like other species. I am prepared to offer terms." Stone laughed. It was not a happy sound. "Terms? You came here to conquer us. You killed thousands of my people. Now you want terms?" "We want peace," Thess-6 replied. "The Dominion does not negotiate with conquered species. But you are not conquered. You are something new. Something we have not encountered before. We propose a mutual withdrawal. Your system will be declared a protectorate. Not a subject territory. A protectorate. You will maintain full autonomy. We will provide technology and protection in exchange for future cooperation." Stone looked at his remaining crew. Looked at the casualties list that grew longer every minute. Looked at Earth hanging in the view screen, blue and fragile and worth any price. "Why should I trust you?" "Because I have never lost a conquest," Thess-6 answered. "Until now. Your species has taught me something about the galaxy. Some worlds are not worth conquering. Some peoples cannot be made to kneel. You are one of them. I would rather have you as partners than enemies." The fighting stopped. 3 months later, Vectari engineers helped humans build their first faster-than-light drive. Human doctors shared medical techniques that the Dominion had never developed. Trade routes opened between Earth and Vectari space. The galaxy watched in astonishment. For 8,000 years, the Vectari had conquered everything they touched. Then they met humanity. Humans who fought without hope. Humans who died without surrender. Humans who would rather burn than bend. The word spread across 400 star systems. Among the conquered peoples, whispers began. The Deathworlders had shown them something important. The Dominion could bleed. The Dominion could be hurt. The Dominion could be stopped. The 6 knew what those whispers meant. She had traded conquest for partnership because she understood the alternative. Endless war against a species that would never stop fighting. Resources drained. Fleets destroyed. An empire weakened. General Stone was promoted to admiral. He led the first human expedition beyond the solar system. His flagship was a new vessel built with combined human and Vectari technology. He named it the Never Surrender. On Earth, Secretary General Okonjo addressed the United Nations General Assembly. She spoke about courage and sacrifice and the price of freedom. She honored the thousands who had died defending their home. She looked to the stars and made a promise. We came to space as children. Weak, afraid, alone. We met an empire that had crushed 1,000 civilizations. They expected us to kneel. We taught them something instead. We taught them that humans do not kneel. We taught them that humans do not quit. We taught them that some things are worth dying for. Today we stand as equals among the stars. Tomorrow we will stand as leaders. Because that is what humans do. We survive. We adapt. We overcome. And we never, ever surrender. The galaxy had found its Deathworlders. Nothing would ever be the same. The end.